Hey guys, welcome once again to this channel Talk with Tyson. And today before us we have none other than Aditi Silveira.
Hi.
Well, just a brief introduction about Aditi. She has done her BA and MA in English Literature, currently teaching English and History in Gyara School. She taught communication skills at PCC, and she's been involved with music. She has contributed in the church choirs in a band, and she has her originals, which is one of her passions, and she involves herself in a lot of events. So yes, she is a very talented and a very organized person. And Aditi, welcome to this channel.
Thank you for
And
having me.
yes. And I've known you as a very studious student back in the college, and yeah, it's a pleasure actually, getting to meet you, especially when I came across this idea of coming with this talk show. And when I spoke with Matthew, I said, hey, why don't we get Aditi, because she's doing quite well.
Thank you.
Well, let's jump to the serious questions. What got you interested? I mean, I've seen you always into academics and all, and I must have thought you are aspiring, but I've got kind of very interested in your music part of it, and especially with your originals.
Yes.
And so I've seen you. I guess you featured in the newspapers as well.
Yes.
So what got you this interest?
So basically, I've been exposed to music for a very long time. From the
Okay.
time I was a child, we'd always hear music in the car, whether it's on the radio. There's no journey that's complete without
Okay.
music. So my parents, were a major influence with regard to that. And I think that growing up, music was that one, I would say, comfort or, a solace. People maybe sometimes go to nature or go to food. For me, I always went to music.
Okay.
I always found that sense of, I could be myself. I was transported to a different world, and I knew that that was a world I wanted to be a part of in
Oh,
some
wow.
way or the other. And it was that, I would say, creative outlet for me. So, if I had thoughts that I wanted to share, and I always said, if I wanted to reach out to the world or reach out to society, give a message, how could I do it best? I am into theater as well, it's something I'm passionate about. But for me, I feel like music is that one genre that everyone relates to,
Okay.
that one aspect of art that everyone can understand, so that's something that always inspired me, and I said in some way or the other, even if I don't take it up as a full-blown career, considering I am a teacher, I still wanted to pursue it as a passion in
Okay.
some way or the other,
Okay.
perform as well as and when I could, and in a certain way, let my thoughts become, lyrics that people could relate to, that people would like to listen to. My ultimate dream would be, to have a song on the radio,
Okay, wow.
that kind of thing. Yeah. So that's basically, why music.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And while you were creating this music, or you sit down and all, what would exactly be your challenges? You're a teacher as well, and music.
Well, the first thing is time. I think all of us are stretched for time. And I think that as a teacher, you have to focus a lot on your lesson planning. And yeah, it's basically that balance.
Okay.
So making time to be creative. So I actually gave myself a challenge this year that every month I would put up a cover.
Okay.
And I did really well for 3 months, and then in the month of April I just couldn't,
Oh.
and I basically used to do YouTube covers, just like have instrumentals and sing over them, but I realized that I wasn't giving enough time to the ukulele, and then
Okay,
when I
okay.
went back into it, there was just that sense of joy. So time for me, that's a major challenge. The second is, once you start a project,
Okay.
finishing a project, it's, I don't know whether it is, I'm not sure whether it's motivation, or sometimes whether it's just that inability to get yourself focused and say, come on, let's do it.
Okay.
It's just in a way interlinked to time, but it's also vastly different. You need a flow.
Okay.
That's a word that I use a lot with my friends. I need to be in that flow.
Okay.
I need that zone to create. So it's
Okay.
like I could write a song in Jan,
Okay.
come up with a video idea in March, ultimately shoot it in June and release it in November.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I need to be in that zone of creativity. I don't like to
Okay.
push myself
Okay.
into it. Otherwise, it's very forced, right? You should be in that creative space, and it's very difficult. You know, being in that creative space means one is being in a sense of peace. You need to, be completely one with yourself, in tune with what you want for this particular project, which sometimes is very difficult with everything that's
Yeah.
that's happening. Sometimes life can be stressful. So for me, that is a major challenge. And then the third would definitely be in terms of a budget. How do you go about recording? My recordings are very basic. They're completely, done at home. So nothing fancy. Even videography is extremely simple. But if I want to take it now to the next level, how do I go about it?
Okay.
So those are the basic challenges that I face. But I always feel like these challenges have their solutions.
Okay.
And in some way or the other, if you just apply yourself to, to getting it done, then your song will reach that fruition and you will be able to put it out there.
Okay.
But it's never an easy process.
Okay.
These
Cool.
bumps in the road will always be there.
Okay. Cool. That's cool. Okay. And well, the next question is, it's really difficult. I don't know whether it's difficult or does it come naturally to you, like, to come up with an original. So how do you go about, like,
It's weird to say it's not difficult for me, but again,
Okay.
I need inspiration. So I can't just sit at a desk and say, today I'm going to write an original song. Something will happen, an event will happen, or I'll see something maybe on a drive, or maybe I'll watch something. But I need that random inspiration. And for me, as soon as it hits me, I need to put it down.
Oh,
So I need to write it, or I need to type out the lyrics. And for me, I feel that's a very beautiful process. So it's not something that I find difficult to do, but it's something that I need to capture immediately. Otherwise, the moment is lost. So for many of my originals, like I remember one that I wrote, the first one that went up on YouTube, it's called Subway. I remember I watched this particular movie and I wanted to write a song basically about someone traveling and two people on their paths crossing each other, looking at each other and realizing that they were slowly falling in love. And it was based off a movie that I watched, and I immediately just sat down. And sometimes the words come first, then the music. Sometimes the music is first,
Okay.
and then the words. It all depends. I had, like, for a song that I'm going to release soon, a friend of mine did the entire track and
Okay.
said, "You put the lyrics to it." Now, it could swing anyway. In fact, it started off as a gospel song,
Okay.
and but it never really gelled.
Oh.
But later on, I got this random inspiration that I've never written a sad song before. My songs are always positive, happy, about love. But I wanted to get into, those negative emotions. I wanted to express sadness and pain. And at 1 in the morning, I suddenly got this thought, why don't you write about lost love? Lost love can be maybe love lost between two people. It could even be a friendship lost between two people. It's not necessarily, a romantic thing altogether. And it came from a place where I experienced a loss of friendship. But I wanted to translate it into that romantic aspect, and hence it became lost love. And at 1 in the morning, I typed out those lyrics, and the next day I sat with my laptop and it just flowed. It just came together.
Oh.
Sometimes I don't know how to call it. Is it divine? Is it human? But that's a beauty of art and creativity.
True.
And that's basically how I go about making my original music.
Wow. even I guess I sat and penned down one original, and oh my god, I just broke my head. I guess it's the reverse for me, because I get the tune first and then I try to pen down, like, But is there a rule, like, that when you pen down the words, like, how would you frame the sentences? So
I don't think there should be a rule. I do feel like a certain sense of rhythm should be there.
Okay.
It can't just be abstract words strung together. Then it's difficult for the listener to piece it together and make sense of it as a song. But definitely a
Okay.
sense of rhythm. Rhyme also doesn't need to be immediate. As long as you follow some kind of a rhyme scheme,
Okay.
I think it's fine. Phrases strung together can also
Mm-hmm.
be, put together to make a verse. I
Mm-hmm.
think that also works. But I think what's very important is keeping an open mind. Sometimes you
True.
write a set of lyrics and then you need to
Mm.
tailor it based on the song. And
Oh,
you have to be open to changing it up.
true, true.
For me, I've realized that being open, especially to your own criticism, is the best.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
know, it's not, you can't have that attitude that, oh, what I've written on the first go is amazing and, let's just
Mm.
work with it. Very often I've had to trim it. I've had to, cut back a few words. I've had to see,
Mm-hmm.
does this really work well together?
Oh,
It's not magic. Everything doesn't come through
true.
immediately. Yes, it may seem like a very beautiful process when everything flows, but
Mm-hmm.
it also needs that deliberation.
Okay.
And yeah, so no rules, but definitely a certain sense of thought
Okay.
has to go into your lyrics
Mm-hmm.
so that people who hear it feel something.
Feel something. Very true, very true. And if you mind sharing about your journey, how did you begin with, all the performance and all those things? What was your journey?
So in 2017, I had a breakup and I cried about it for, I think, a day. And I said, I need to get over it. I need to do something. And I felt a lot of negative energy within.
Okay.
And I don't know what to do. I remember I started working out back then and I felt really
Mm-hmm.
good. But there was still that energy that needed to be released. There was a lot of anger. There was a lot
Mm-hmm.
of frustration. I mean, whatever happened, we parted very amicably and we're still, very good friends. But it was that particular, I would say, situation that pushed me to dive into music creatively, and say, come on, you have the potential, let's do it. And as a matter of fact, he was the one person who said, you should start a YouTube channel. And the
Oh,
irony is, after, after breaking up with him, I did start it,
okay.
not as a mean to spite him, but as a means to, just dive into that aspect. And it helped to heal myself. And just being with the keyboard, just working on that was very therapeutic for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I put up that video called Subway on YouTube. Again, a name that not many people would relate to. Subway, what is she talking about? Is it the sandwich? Is it the train? So the people listened to it and they couldn't believe what they heard because it was
Okay.
just very stripped down, me and a keyboard,
Okay.
jazz chords, very syncopated. And I keep getting this, they're like, you sound like Adele. And I said, wow, she's my role model. And I, gain a lot of inspiration from her. I try to put all those influences into, that song. And one of my juniors reached out to me and she said, would you like to perform at a pub called Watson's? And I said, yeah, definitely, let's go for it. So I started a duo with my friend Nikhil. And everyone liked it. And then a friend of mine said, hey, can we make it a trio?
Okay.
And so we expanded. So
Oh.
Nikhil, Richard, and I, so our names put together, we formed a band called Radical. And so
Wow.
so we performed a fair bit. We had a regular gig as well, and we played Valentine's Day, a couple of places. So that's how it took off. But it took off because I took the chance.
Wow.
And if I
Okay,
didn't,
okay.
I don't know where I'd be.
And you enjoyed it.
Absolutely. So that's why I think it's so important, to anyone who's listening out there, take the chance. You never know where you can land up. And now, every time I put up an original, I've been blessed to have someone or the other want to feature it. It's come into the newspapers. And I said, wow, okay, people are reading about it. People are relating. In fact, so many people said, this is a song I listen to in my car again and again and again.
Wow.
And I said, wow, and all my friends are very supportive. In fact, they keep saying, put up an album.
Oh.
And I keep saying, you sponsor it. It's, but it is a goal. It is something I, look forward to. But that's how it started. And now with Instagram, with social media, it's just taken on a whole new level where, it's an amazing platform
Yeah.
to put out your work. And now you can even reach out to unknown audiences. And you have people connecting with you, people relating to what you do, and that's great. In fact, there's a recent challenge called the 3-word challenge,
Okay.
where someone gives you 3 words and you have to string together a verse and a chorus.
Wow.
And I actually found that challenge extremely exciting.
Okay.
And the videos, the reels did really, really well. And for
Okay.
me, it's not about the numbers, it's just about people loving what I put out there.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know?
Okay.
So the sky is the limit if you just take that chance. And I did. So this is my journey.
That's awesome. Now moving on to the next question, how about music as a career? Because I don't know about my parents, but I do know that many just say music is a sinking ship and all. You cannot risk your time and all, and also good musicians have gone abroad, and there is, I think so, one part of them that they let it die, so they don't realize that there is a gray kind of a life that they are going to get into because they have left one of their colors behind.
Yeah.
So what about music as a career? Would it be a good option since it's a passion for some?
Definitely. I certainly feel like music as a career is something that is viable as long as you're willing to put in the time and effort.
Okay.
That's very important because it's not enough to just perform and just play a
Mhm.
gig. You need to work on your social media presence. You need to
Correct.
go out there and network. I mean,
Mhm.
you're not going to get gigs if you don't go and meet people and say,
Mhm.
this is what I do, or this is what my band and I do.
Mhm.
That's very important. Many people confuse music for, just the performance aspect.
Mhm.
But there's so much more to that,
True.
So social media in terms of the videos that you make
Mhm.
and, putting yourself out there, maybe, meeting people, going for various festivals,
Mhm.
concerts. That's a way that you network. And once you establish that, that's how you put yourself out there as a musician. So it's a
Okay,
lot of
okay,
hard
okay,
work.
okay.
It's not that it's not feasible. And Goa actually is a very vibrant place for music.
True, true.
The scene has also changed a lot. We have a lot of youngsters today putting up their music on Spotify.
Okay.
Ultimately, I'm sure they do aim to monetize them. I don't think anyone merely just puts it up for the passion. But I feel like it's doable. Now things have changed where even recording equipment is, for lack of a better word, affordable. You don't
Yeah.
have to hit the studio. If you
Correct.
invest in good equipment yourself, you
Mhm.
could set up your own home studio, which many people are doing.
Yeah.
And you could even take it up. You can, instead of looking at it as just, I would say, a mainstream career, look at it as something that you could do on the side, because if it is your passion and you want to
Mhm.
earn from it, then that's something that you should follow.
True,
Considering your
true.
situations and circumstances, it's something that I did for a couple of years.
Mhm.
My situations changed, and so, I couldn't. My band split up ultimately, and then COVID came.
Oh, yeah.
That affected, the scene a lot. But it is something that I haven't written off
Mhm.
just yet. So even if you talk about a career, one is you can look at it from a mainstream angle, or you can look at it as something that you do on the side, but it's still something that adds, right? Any
True.
kind of income that comes in is beneficial, I'm
Mhm.
sure. So it's important to realize that you need to open your mind to the
Mhm.
prospect of something like this, especially parents.
Mhm.
That hesitation's always there, right? Will my child earn? Will they visit that sense of safety, security?
Mhm.
Definitely. And music is not only performing, it's not only singing. Many people forget the production aspect
Yeah.
of music. In fact, growing up, I always said I want to be an audio engineer, but I realized
Oh.
it was expensive. I always wanted to produce music.
Oh, oh, oh.
That's
Okay.
why the love for original music.
Okay, okay,
Yes.
okay,
So
okay,
for me, I said even if I don't get to sing and perform, I want to make music.
okay.
So I
Mhm.
want to structure a track from scratch, and now you can do it. Now
True.
I use a website called BandLab, and they have
Mhm.
ready tracks,
Mhm.
so you can just string them together to make a
Mhm.
song, and it's open source, so you can use it to create your own tracks. You even
Mhm.
have, I think, a few others, if I'm not mistaken, that you could possibly use to make music. So you don't even have to step out of your home into a studio. You can do it
Mhm.
from the comfort of your bedroom and,
Yeah.
make a track and put it out there. And to be very honest, people want to listen to original music.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
constantly just merely doing covers and, just it's the same thing over, unless you do it in a different way,
Mhm.
is now kind of dying out. People
Yeah.
want to hear something new,
New.
fresh, original, different,
Yeah, something they can relate to.
Yes, and with social media booming,
Mhm.
with digital marketing also becoming something that is a very current, relevant field,
Mhm.
using these two to boost your music also makes a difference. So,
Rightly said.
back then, bands and DJs had to really work hard.
Yeah.
Today, from your home, you could reach out to so many people and, put your music out there. So it's
Mhm.
very much viable as a career.
Mhm.
But it takes the same amount of effort and hard work as, let's say, a teacher. As a teacher, I should know. So it takes a lot of effort.
Okay.
So it's not something that is chilled out or laid back.
Okay.
So if anyone has that kind of mentality, it's not. It's just as, you have to work just as hard as a regular job.
Okay. Okay.
It's a job
Okay.
at the end of the day. Even if it's just something on the side, you still have to work for it if you want to make money out of it. But
Okay.
it's definitely viable. And Goa is a place where you can really do a lot.
True,
You have a
true.
lot of places where they want people to perform.
Mhm.
You have a lot of places that are now encouraging original music.
Mhm.
And if our very own youngsters are putting up music on Spotify, I don't see, why anyone should, feel like it's a challenge, myself included.
Cool. Well, and also now since that you have mentioned about parents, what would you say about music when it comes to parents, like today? How should they perceive this whole like journey of music when it comes to their children? Should they encourage, discourage?
I feel like if the child has an inclination, definitely encourage your child.
Okay.
You'd rather have your child play, let's say, sports
Mhm.
or music as compared to, spending a lot of time on the computer.
Mhm.
Today we see that technology has taken over. I mean, it's good in a way, but sometimes I look at children and, they don't run as fast as, children normally do because they're not
Yeah.
used to playing outside. They're very quick with their thoughts and very quick with their fingers, but not with their bodies.
Bodies.
Even that sense of creativity is very
Mhm.
limited to certain fields. Music is a creative field.
Mhm.
Many people get very dissuaded because, oh, I can't sing, I
Oh.
can't play an instrument.
Mhm.
But there's way more to that. If you dabble, music is nothing but maths.
Mhm.
If you think about it, it's rhythm, it's
Actually.
tempo, it's a chord. That's what I said. You don't even need to know the theories and the nitty gritties of music.
Mhm.
Just like for youth, if you hit up, like I said, a software like BandLab,
Mhm.
you hear it back and you say, okay, I think this sounds nice, and you start layering it yourself.
Mhm.
You're making music. You're being creative.
Yeah.
And it's
True.
very important for children to also have a creative outlet
Mhm.
in some way or the other. If it's art, it could be music. If they like nature, gardening, whatever it is, to take them out of the house as well. Or being with an instrument also has a lot of positive effects, especially for our cognitive abilities.
Okay.
So I think that I'm not saying video games are bad. I mean, they're also supposed to be very good, especially in terms of refining your motor skills. But too much of it,
Mm.
doesn't really add a lot. I know
True.
I'm going to get a lot of flack for saying this. So engineering students, I know. But what I'm trying to say is that you should encourage, especially if your child has that passion.
Okay.
At the same time, don't force your child. I know how it is. Every Goan household should have a musician. I've heard parents say that. I want my child, and the child is looking so sorrowful holding that guitar. I mean, don't push him or her if they're not keen. But if they do have that passion,
Mhm.
there's just nothing like it.
Mhm.
Your child may not make a career out of it, but the benefits, especially in terms of mental well being, cognitive ability, using the creativity, it is a sense of all round development.
Okay.
And we don't even realize that.
Mhm.
We as kids were naturally thrown into the world of music. Go and do something, right?
Yeah.
But if you and I look back, we've seen how music has helped us in our own ways.
Mhm.
It's really made a big difference. And I think today, the kids don't realize that,
True.
because you're so addicted to your phone or your
Yeah.
laptop, it's like you take that away and I don't know what to do.
Correct.
But take the phone and put in a guitar
Mhm.
or you put in a ukulele, spend some time with it, and you'll realize you're a completely different person.
Mhm.
And using these artistic areas to develop yourself also
Mhm.
is very, very important. You can't do music solo. You need to
True.
rely on people. You need a sense of inspiration. When you're a band, you learn teamwork.
Okay.
You learn
Yeah.
collaboration. So it's also life skills
Mm.
to a certain extent. And music is nothing but communication.
Exactly.
It's elevated communication, but it's communication. So that's very important to keep this in mind and really nurture your child if they have a passion for it.
That's good insights. Good insights. And now for the final thing, we've spoken everything. And what would be your message today, to all our youth out there and also the struggling buddies who are just putting their hands into this music? What would you say to them?
So, two messages. First is dive into original music. There are enough cover artists as it is. Let your voice be heard. Don't ever doubt yourself or feel like no one will want to listen to what I put out there. That's exactly what I thought, and I was very pleasantly surprised. The number of people who related to what I put out there, it was staggering. The responses have been fantastic, and when people say your song touched me, it's beautiful, I like the musicality. I mean, it's only because I dived into this aspect of original music that I also set myself apart, and I said I want to be known for the work that I do. Anyone can do covers, right?
True.
But not everyone can write original music. So if you have it within you, don't doubt yourself. And the second one is take that risk. Not only music, for anything. Trust me, take that leap of faith, and you never know where it will lead you. Our journeys sometimes are restricted because we don't believe in ourselves. But if we don't believe in ourselves, who's going to believe in us?
True.
And that's what's fueling me every single day. Every time I put up, even a cover of something, or I try to put my own spin on it, or I take on a challenge, or if it's an original that I put up, sometimes even I experience that doubt. I'm not perfect, but I keep saying that it's at risk, and I need to take it. I'm going to put it out there. Don't be, I would say, motivated by the numbers. Okay, I mean, Instagram is just. Sometimes numbers are just, it's an algorithm.
Yeah.
It all depends on where your music goes, and so don't feel that sense of, I didn't reach 1,000 views. That was me. Sometimes still is me. I'm not going to deny that. But don't let that motivate you. Neither the aspect of money, monetizing everything, because art then loses its value. Create art for art's sake, as they say. To keep that going. Where you can make, a career out of it, you can earn sustainably, well and good.
Yeah.
But even if you can't, that doesn't mean that you don't put your work out there. The world needs more artists. The world needs more musicians.
True.
It needs more people who express themselves creatively and who are true to themselves. And that's why original music is so important. Because it is your voice. And you never know whose voice you represent through the music you put up. That's why I love it so much. I relate so much. It's like I may not be going through a breakup, but I hear Adele's music and I feel sad. It really makes you feel something. Or even if I listen to, let's say, Charlie Puth, I listen to the jazzy chords and I learn so much from them, because music has that ability to touch, to influence, and to make people feel something.
Okay.
So take that risk. You're not going to get the dividends or the payoffs immediately.
Yeah.
And that is true. We need to work hard for it. You need to spend that time, but you never know, where your journey will take you, and you never know how it will pay off for you and who you could possibly inspire, influence, and reach out to, unless you take that leap of faith.
Wow. Very well said. And so with that, we have come to the end of today's episode on the journey of music with Aditi Silveira. And thanks for being with us. And
Thank you for having me. It was an absolute pleasure.
The pleasure was mine. And yes, please do subscribe to this channel for some more content. Until then, see you and take care.